The Battle of Wattignies saw a Republican French commanded by Jean-Baptiste Jordan attack a coalition army directed by Prince Josias of Saxe-Coburg-Saalfeld. After 2 days of combat, Jordan's troops compelled the Habsburg-Austrian covering force led by François-Sébastien Charles-Joseph de Croix, Count of Clerfayt, to withdraw. The War of the First Coalition victory allowed the French to raise the siege of Maubeuge. At a time when failed generals were often executed or imprisoned, Jordan had to endure interference from Lazare Carnot from the Committee of Public Safety. The village, renamed Wattignies La Victoire in honor of the important success, is located 9 kilometers southeast of Maubeuge. Coburg's main army encircled 25,000 French soldiers in Maubeuge, while about 22,000 Austrians under Clerfayt were formed in a semicircle, covering the southern approaches to the fortress. On the first day, 45,000 French soldiers mounted a clumsy attack which was easily repulsed, except near the village of Wattignies. On the second day, Jordan concentrated half his army at Wattignies and after a tough fight, forced Coburg to concede defeat. Though the coalition army was better trained than the French, its units were spread out too thinly and the different nationalities failed to cooperate. Soon the coalition army went into winter quarters, finishing a campaign that started with great promise and ended in disappointment. Carnot rewrote history so that he and the political representatives got most of the credit for the triumph. Jordan was dismissed in January 1794. Background: in the summer of 1793, the 118,000-strong coalition army punched a gap in the line of French fortresses along the frontier with the Austrian Netherlands. The siege of Condé ended on 12 July, while the siege of Valenciennes was concluded on 27 July. In the Battle of Caesar's Camp, the coalition army under Prince Josias of Saxe-Coburg-Saalfeld hustled the French army of the north out of a position near Cambrai on 7 August. At this moment, the coalition allies unwisely split their forces. Prince Frederick, Duke of York and Albany, headed west toward Dunkirk with 37,000 British, Austrians, Hanoverians and Hessians. From 6 to 8 September 1793, the Army of the North under Jean-Nicolas Houchard defeated the Dunkirk covering force in the Battle of Honshuter, compelling the Duke of York to give up the siege of Dunkirk. This was followed by the Battle of Menin on 13 September, in which the French routed a Dutch corps under Prince William of Orange. The Dutch suffered 3,000 casualties and lost 40 field pieces in the disaster. 2 days later, an Austrian corps led by Johann Peter Beaulieu routed the French and recaptured Menin. Coburg's main army concluded the siege of Le Quesnoy on 13 September 1793, taking 4,000 French troops prisoner. 2 French columns attempted to raise the siege but failed, one of the columns being nearly wiped out by coalition cavalry in the Battle of Avesnes-le-Sec. Though Coburg might have easily seized Cambrai and Bouchon, which had been stripped of their garrisons to form the relief columns, the coalition commander chose to move against Maubeuge instead. For these defeats, Houchard was arrested on 23 September and incarcerated in a common prison. Denounced as a coward and a traitor by the Revolutionary Tribunal, he was executed by guillotine on 16 November. His predecessor in command of the Army of the North, Adam Philippe, Comte de Cassine, had been guillotined on 27 August 1793. Jean-Baptiste Jordan had been wounded at Hondschooter and was named to lead the Army of the Ardennes on 9 September 1793. He was appointed provisional commander-in-chief of the Army of the North on 22 September 1793. When Jordan protested that he lacked the experience to command the 104,000-man army, the representatives on mission notified him that refusal would result in his arrest. The new commander found that he must respond to the coalition's move against Maubeuge. Coburg's army began the siege of Maubeuge on 30 September. Operations French deployment. On 1 October 1793, Jordan's large army was distributed across a broad front in 4 great masses, starting at the North Sea and running southeast. Joseph Souham at Dunkirk commanded 8,852 infantry in 17 battalions and 430 cavalry in 1 regiment, and André Gigot at Hondschooter had 7,269 infantry in 15 battalions. Near Kassel, Dominique Vandamme led 8,984 foot soldiers in 19 battalions and 325 horsemen in 1 regiment, while Charles-François Fillon led 3,705 foot soldiers in 9 battalions. At Balliol there were 4,166 infantry in 10 battalions. The second mass started at Armentières, where there were 9,644 foot in 19 battalions and 1,338 horse in 4 regiments. At the camp of Madeleine near Lille, Antoine and Lecourt de Beru directed 13,564 infantry in 28 battalions and 817 chasseurs à cheval in 3 regiments. Pierre-Guillaume Gratian at Mons-en-Pevle led 3,521 infantry in 9 battalions. The third mass was located at the camp of Gavril between Douai and Arras, commanded by Jordan. The force included the flankers of the right with 6,048 foot in 15 battalions and 1,602 horse in 5 regiments, and the flankers of the left with 6,821 infantry in 14 battalions and 1,323 cavalry in 3 regiments. The advance guard consisted of 4,821 foot in 8 battalions and 1,901 horse in 5 regiments. The centre division was made up of 4,077 infantry in 6 battalions and 428 cavalry in 2 regiments, with 2 battalions of 732 men guarding the wagon train. Jacques Ferron commanded the 4th Mass, which was in the Malberge entrenched camp. Second in command was Jean-Nestor de Chancel. The fortress garrison under Etienne Gudin counted 2,173 soldiers. Pierre-Arnauld Meyer's right brigade numbered 6,992 men, including the 7th and 12th Dragoons. Joseph-Antoine Colombi's centre brigade had 6,802 men, and Jacques Desjardins' left brigade consisted of 8,140 men, including the 1st Hussars. Altogether, Ferron commanded 24,107 soldiers. Blockade of Malberge. At dawn on 29 September, a column under François-Sébastien Charles-Joseph de Quoy, Count of Clerfayt, crossed the Sambre at Bellemont, southwest of Malberge. To the northeast, Franz Vincenz von Hoditz's column crossed the river near Pont-sur-Sambre, and a third column led by Nicolaus von Collard-Mels crossed the Sambre at Hautmont. In a series of skirmishes, the 3 Austrian columns pressed east, finally driving Desjardins' troops into the Malberge entrenched camp, with losses of 150 men and 2 cannons. To the east of Malberge, Austrians under Maximilien Antoncal, Count Baylet de la Tour crossed the Sambre near Marpenton-Jumont. A column under Alexander Friedrich von Seckendorf crossed near Merbes-le-Château farther east. These forces forced Meyer's troops in disorder back within Malberge, which was isolated. Coburg split his forces into a 26,000-man siege army directed by the Prince of Orange and an army of observation. The siege army consisted of 14,000 Austrians under Collard south of the Sambre and 12,000 Dutch under Orange north of the river. Collardo's force included 16 battalions, 10 companies and 8 squadrons. The army of observation totaled 25,550 infantry and 12,150 cavalry, distributed in 3 main divisions. Franz Xaver von Wenkheim commanded 7,250 foot and 4,200 horse west of the Sambre in the Forêt des Mormels. Hoditz directed 9,300 foot and 3,750 horse on the east of Maubeuge, and Clerfayt led 9,000 foot and 4,200 horse on the south side of Maubeuge. Clerfayt divided his corps into three groups under Count Heinrich von Bellegarde, Joseph Binder von der Genschild and Ludwig von Tertzy. The coalition forces began constructing extensive siege works around Maubeuge. On the first day, the French garrison sortied against the Sens de Château but were repulsed after stiff fighting. Maubeuge was supplied for a normal garrison, but far too many soldiers were trapped there. On the 10th of October, Ferron had to put the troops on half rations, while hundreds of sick and dying soldiers crowded their hospitals. On the 13th of October, the French enjoyed initial success in a sortie against the Bois de Tilleul, but troops sent out to help mistakenly fired on their own friends and the French were compelled to retreat. The coalition established batteries of 20 24-pound cannons against the town. After the coalition army opened its bombardment on the night of the 14th of October, the morale of the garrison sank. When some soldiers complained to Chancel that they were hungry and tired, he replied, "Listen, young men, it takes a lot of work and privation in order to gain the honor to fight and die for your country." A representative, Jean-Baptiste Jordan, tried to cut his way out of Maubeuge with some dragoons but was captured. Denounced for abandoning the place, Drouet gave the ridiculous excuse that his escape would have raised the spirits of the garrison. French reaction, leaving 10,000 soldiers in the camp of Gavroche to support Bouchon and Cambrai. Jordan immediately moved to the relief of Maubeuge with the remaining 20,000 men. He also called in 12,000 reinforcements from the Camp de Madeleine and 10,000 more from farther north. Without waiting for the troops from the north, Jordan assembled a division under Jacques Fromentin. Leaving the camp on the 3rd of October, it arrived at Guise on the 6th. That same day, Antoine Balland's division left the camp of Gavroche and reached Guise on the 9th of October. Beru promptly sent Gratian's brigade and other units from Lille and Mons-en-Pévèle. This body of 11,701 soldiers was assigned to Florent Joseph Duquesnoy. Left-wing commander Jean-Baptiste Jordan sent 9,012 troops under Martin Jean Carrion de los Condes, which arrived at Guise on the 10th of October. The Committee of Public Safety placed the Army of Ardennes under Jordan's control on the 2nd of October. The army's commander Ferron was immured in Maubeuge and orders were sent for one detachment to operate from Philippeville. A motley force of 4,263 men was assembled under Pierre-Raphael Palat de Beauregard and reached Fourmies on the 11th of October. The next day, several units from the north joined Beauregard's division. Jordan's army shifted east from Guise to Avesnes-sur-Helpe between 11 and the 13th of October. On the 14th of October, Jordan and Committee of Public Safety member Lazare Carnot reconnoitred the coalition front south of Maubeuge. The numerical strength of the army was 37,906 infantry and 6,370 cavalry for a grand total of 44,276, with the troops distributed as follows. Fromentin's division numbered 7,357 men including 1,495 cavalry. Carrion's division, now under Etienne Jean-François Cordelier Delanoë, counted 6,866 troops including 668 horsemen. Balland's division consisted of 13,294 soldiers, of which 1,440 were cavalry. Duquesnoy's division had 10,906 men including 1,960 mounted troops. Beauregard's division comprised 5,853 troops, of which 837 were horsemen. Historian Ramsey Weston Phipps remarked that Beauregard's men were bad troops under a bad general. Battle. The 15th of October, the Austrian covering force was entrenched, and though Clerfayt was in nominal command, Coburg was on the scene and in control of the battle. Coburg was so certain of success that he was supposed to have said that if he were defeated, he would become a sans-culotte. This story made the rounds in the French army and made its soldiers eager to make the coalition commander wear trousers. On the morning of the 15th of October, Bellegarde held the coalition right flank with about 5,000 troops in 3 battalions of foot and 16 squadrons of horse. The extreme right touched the Sambre at Bellemont. Clerfayt defended the centre with 9,200 soldiers, deployed along a west to east line of villages. Supported by division commanders were Franz Joseph Count Kinsky and Joseph Karl von Lilien. Clerfayt controlled 5 battalions of grenadiers, 5 battalions of regulars, 1/3 battalion of Croats, 4 infantry companies and 12 cavalry squadrons. Tertzy was posted on the left flank at Wattignies with 4,000 men in 3 battalions of foot and 12 squadrons of horse. The extreme left at Obrechies was defended by Karl Joseph Hadek von Furtak and 2,100 soldiers. Far to the east at Beaumont, Johann Andreas Benjovsky commanded 4,000 troops organized as 3 battalions and 12 squadrons. From right to left the French divisions were Beauregard at Solre-le-Château, Duquesnoy on the main road from Avesnes-sur-Helpe, Balland in reserve at Avesnes, Cordelier at La Capelle and Fromentine at Dompierre-sur-Helpe. Duquesnoy and Beauregard moved to attack Wattignies, while Fromentine advanced against the Austrian right flank. Jordan enjoyed a 2-to-1 superiority, and the coalition generals had to be anxious about the 20,000 French soldiers at Malberge. On the right, Beauregard's men left Solre-le-Château at 7 a.m. Near Obrechies, 4 squadrons of Austrian cavalry charged them and drove them off, with the loss of 3 field guns. Duquesnoy's division departed Flaumont at 6 a.m. and marched through Bunes, Dimont and Dimechaux, supported by a plentiful artillery. The French infantry drove 2 Austrian battalions out of Wattignies, but as the French poured out of the other side of the village, they were met by an infantry-cavalry counterattack. Duquesnoy's soldiers abandoned Wattignies and retreated to Dimechaux and Dimont. On the far left, Cordelier's division advanced on Laval and Mont-Saint-Vaast, while farther east, Fromentin's division attacked toward Saint-Remy-Chaussee and Saint-Aubin. Bellegarde's cannons opened fire in mid-morning, starting a mutual bombardment. The French infantry crossed a ravine and grappled for possession of Saint-Aubin village with a Croatian infantry battalion. In the afternoon, Bellegarde launched a counterattack led by Austrian regular infantry, while 2 regiments of cavalry swept down on the French left flank. The Austrians captured 8 French cannon and caused the French to flee to the safety of the ravine. In the centre, Clerfayt deployed 5 grenadier battalions in the villages of Dorlers, Mont-Dorlers, Floursies and along the Monceau road. This east-west sunken road was located on a reverse slope, just south of Dorlers. The French royalists and some Croatians guarded the forest to the east, while the Croatian battalion fought to the west at Saint-Aubin. The remaining battalions of Austrian regular foot and all the horse occupied a ridge behind the line of villages. Jordan, Carnot and Representative Ernest Dominique François Joseph Duquesnoy accompanied Balland's division in the centre. The army commander planned to wait for the attacks of his 2 wings to make significant progress before launching the attack of Balland's division. In mid-morning, the division filed out of the woods in front of Dorlers and opened fire with its artillery. Seeing the initial success of the 2 wings, Carnot wanted the attack to be started at once. Jordan wanted more ground to be gained on the flanks, but the politician would not be denied. Finally, Jordan put himself at the head of Balland's division and ordered the assault. As the French soldiers came over the crest of the ridge in front on the sunken road, they came under murderous fire from the crack Austrian grenadiers. Despite heroic attempts to get light artillery forward, cannons were dismounted and gunners and horses were shot down. In the thick of the bullets, Jordan bravely urged his troops on, but an Austrian force appeared from the direction of St. Auban, threatening the French left flank. At nightfall, the representatives authorized a retreat after Balland's division had lost between 1,200 and 1,500 casualties. The 16th of October during the night, French deserters wrongly reported to the Austrians that Jordan was reinforced to 100,000 men. Believing he was going to be attacked again, Coburg reinforced his covering force by 5 battalions of about 3,750 men and rearranged his defenses. On the left, Terzi had 5,250 foot soldiers in 7 regular battalions and 2,100 cavalry in 14 squadrons. The centre under Clerfay counted 6,650 foot and 1,800 horse. This force was made up of 5 grenadier battalions, 2 regular battalions, 1/3 of a battalion of Croats, 4 companies and 6 squadrons of French royalists and 6 squadrons of cuirassiers. Bellegarde's right wing was composed of 4,500 infantry and 7 regular battalions and 2,100 light cavalry in 14 squadrons. Altogether, the covering force numbered about 16,400 infantry and 6,000 cavalry. Phipps believed that Carnot's account was nonsense and that the course of the battle was typical of Jordan's tactics. Jordan's account only stated that he gave the order to attack Wattignies. Fromentin on the left was instructed not to mount a serious attack. Cordelia was ordered to act under Fromentin's orders and also reinforce Balland with 3 battalions and a cavalry regiment. Balland was directed to place 9 battalions plus 2 cavalry regiments at Jordan's disposal. The rest of Balland's division was to form line of battle and use its light troops to probe the enemy positions. The divisions of Beauregard and Duquesnoy numbered 16,000 soldiers. To these, Jordan's special force added about 6,000 men. On the 16th of October, Fromentin's 2 divisions on the left flank and Balland's division in the centre skirmished all day. Bellegarde and Clerfay held the bulk of their strength in their main positions. Jordan mounted the main French assault against the height of Wattignies, in 3 columns from Diamant, Dimcho and Croisiez. The main attack was also supported by additional artillery. When an early morning fog lifted in mid-morning, the French artillery opened a barrage on Wattignies. Duquesnoy's division formed the 2 right columns while Jordan's detachment made up the left column. After being driven back twice by heavy fire, the French columns forced their way into Wattignies in the early afternoon. A counterattack from the northwest briefly pushed back the French, who were rallied by Jordan. More French troops came up and defeated the Austrian attack. Duquesnoy sent Gratian's brigade forward, but it was caught by Austrian cavalry in the open and thrown back. By this time, the French had dragged a battery up to the Wattignies heights, to the infantry's support. Under pressure from infantry and artillery, Terzi's division recoiled to the north. On the right of Duquesnoy, Beauregard's division attacked Aubrechies, which was defended by Haddick with 2 battalions of regulars and 8 squadrons of cavalry. As the French began breaking into the village, Haddick launched attacks from 3 directions at once, routing Beauregard's men. The French abandoned 5 cannon and fled back to Solrenus. According to one observer, they did not stop until they reached Solre-le-Château. Bussufar to the east, a column of French conscripts under Jacob Jobelli, set out from Philippeville toward Beaumont. In the early hours of the 16th of October, they were attacked by coalition troops and fled. Elie managed to rally his soldiers and arrange them in 2 lines near Boussoules-Walcourt. At dawn, when the Austrians attacked again, the second line fired a volley into the backs of the first line and all the infantry took to their heels. Louis-Henri Loison capably covered the retreat with the French cavalry, saving the foot soldiers from being cut to pieces. As it was, Elie lost 400 men and 12 artillery pieces, while only 138 casualties were suffered by Benjovsky's division.